Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you're all having a great and wonderful day. And unfortunately, this is a darker story, but I kind of want this to be known here of what is to be happening in the UK or slash Britain, because obviously this is something that is being defended and against these monsters here. What we have here is an ongoing problem in the UK. What we would expect in our country if we allow this type of debauchery to happen. Again, that video will be coming very soon, most likely today. And it is, not today, but definitely tomorrow, Wednesday. And it's something that it really irks me, right? And this is some of the things where people are gonna label me as such as a racist or a phobia or whatever. But these are the things that people have to deal with. The things that when we allow certain groups or ethnic groups into our country, what we to expect. And this is the darkest day of what I see our country thankfully is not going to become, at least not for the next 4 years, because we're not allowing this type of insanity to happen. Now, what we have here is that two young girls were horribly gang raped in this story, and it is going to make your stomach turn. But of course, the British police, the people that the higher ups were all like, "Oh, well, this is not a big deal. This is not a problem." And he doesn't say this is a problem, and this is what this monster here has to say about it. So what we have here from Libs of TikTok saying, British police were called to a house after a neighbor had heard screams. They found a young girl naked and drunk with 7 Pakistani men. They arrested the girl for being drunk and convicted her. They reportedly didn't even question the men. Just absolutely unreal. So let me just tell you this right here, guys. Let me just tell you right this. The young girl who was 13, by the way, there's two. I'll get to the first story later. This young girl. There was two of them, and then they decided to arrest the girl for being drunk when she was the one that was being sexually abused. This is wild.
And at 2:30 in the morning, the next morning, a woman on the other side of Rotherham had picked up the phone and dialed 999 because she'd heard a young girl screaming in the house next door. Police had gone round to the house. They found this 13-year-old girl with another young girl. She was almost completely naked. She was blind drunk, and she was with 7 adult Pakistani men. She was drunk and leery. And South Yorkshire Police arrested the 13-year-old girl for being drunk and disorderly. They took her back to the station, put her in the cells, eventually charged her, and she was convicted. They didn't even question the men as to why they were in a house with a 13-year-old girl who was nearly naked in the early hours of the morning. And
so, yeah, that's what's going on here, right? This is what's happening in the UK, the British, or whatever the heck that part of the country. My geography is not great. Go F yourself for me not knowing. But this is what's happening, right? This is what's happening in Britain, right? This is insanity. And we have the story here. We have the actual talk about this. Corbyn ally shares messages telling Rotherham sex abuse victims to be quiet for the good of diversity. Now, this is this is going on here, right? So this is not the full story of what this is going on, but this is the story that we're talking about. This is the story. This is all the other things that have been happening, but this is the story. It says, Hunter, Muslim rape gangs targeted tens of hundreds of poor white girls as authorities ran cover. And this is the story that we have here. Cops responding to the calls of screaming at a residence in the north of England. They found 2 13-year-old girls naked and drunk in the company of 7 adult men. The girls were charged with public intoxication. The British Pakistani men skated. Political correctness is having a moment of reckoning in the UK. For decades, so-called grooming gangs, comprised of mostly Pakistani immigrants, raped and abused poor and vulnerable white girls, many in care homes. Some estimates put the number of victims at more than 200,000. Yet cops, bureaucrats, social workers, and prosecutors desperately tried to sweep the sickening scandal under the carpet. And the reason they did nothing? Demographics and fear of being accused of being racist. Wokeness has gone mad. In 2020, at a sentencing hearing for yet another grooming gang, and Huddersfield Judge Jeffrey Marson did not mince words. Political correctness allowed predatory men to perpetrate gross sexual abuse for their own perverted gratification. They were planned offenses by a large group of Asian men. The way these girls were treated defies understanding. The abuse was vile and wicked. And now the rape gangs are back in the news. Oldham Council has called for a government-led nationwide inquiry into the horror show that stretches from Bristol in the south of Glasgow. Labour Safeguarding Minister Jess Phillips torpedoed the idea. Of course, the fact that Prime Minister Keir Starmer was head of the Crown Prosecution Service at the time and kicked many of the sex charges to the curb may be playing a role. But reports were blocked, arrests torpedoed, and any connection to ethnicity, immigration, or Islam was underplayed. That blew in the face of ICE cold facts. One recent study revealed that in Telford and 1 in 126 Muslim men were prosecuted for sex grooming between 1997 and 2017. An infamous Rotherham, it was 1 in 73. Many others remain on the streets or fighting deportation. Those caged received light sentences. In some instances, the victims' fathers took matters into their own hands. They were the ones arrested, as any normal father would. And when they hear about this happening to their daughter, I would go to hell and water that I heard that happening to the girl. That man is not coming back alive, right? The justice system is not going to do anything. I will take things into my own hands. As for those covering up, there have been no consequences. One Labour MP opposed further inquiries, while in Rotherham there were 265 misconduct allegations involving 47 cops. Not one has been fired. The left fired back, allowing 20 convictions in Huddersfield. The wokeists were less than pleased with comments made by Conservative Home Secretary Sajid Javid. He tweeted, "These sick Asian pedophiles are finally facing justice. I want to commend the bravery of the victims. For too long they were ignored. Not on my watch. There will be no go areas." Cue Labour stalwarts who thought it would fair Javid pinned the blame on one group. Yeah, so this is what's ongoing here, right? This is an ongoing thing that's happening in England, in the UK, right? This is the problem. When I made that comment, I was stating the fact, and the truth is that if you look at recent high-profile convictions of gang-based sexual exploitation, there is a majority of people that come from Pakistani heritage backgrounds that's plain for everyone to see. The issue exploded in 2013 in Rotherham in South Yorkshire. Investigators determined that the sexual abuse and exploitation started in the late 1980s. Everyone knew. No one did a thing. At least 1,400 girls from 11 to 16 were brutalized. So, yeah, this is what's going on here, right? This is the insanity. Of course, what we have so here, it says a prominent Labour MP and key ally of Jeremy Corbyn shared a social media message telling victims of sickening sex abuse to shut up for the good of diversity. Naz Shah retweeted and liked a post on Twitter by an account parroting left-wing writer Owen Jones, which said, "Those abused girls in Rotherham and elsewhere just need to shut their mouths for the good of diversity." Her actions have reignited the furious row over Pakistani sex gangs, which last week saw Labour MP Sarah Champion handed out Labour's front benches for writing an article in The Sun addressing the issue. Ms. Shah, who later deleted the retweet and liked the post, was a key figure in leading the furrow against a column written by The Sun's Trevor Kavanagh about the grooming sex scandal last week. So again, the far leftists are defending this. The far leftists are saying, "Nah, this is okay. We don't shut your mouth. We don't. You can't be talking about this." This is how far the left has gone, and this is the reason why so many people in America have pushed back against this insanity, because they allow this. They allow the grooming or rape of young children, and when the children are the ones that are being victimized, we're going to arrest the children because that makes sense. Because a 13-year-old, even though she was groomed and obviously raped in a horrible manner, and 2 of them, mind you, oh, don't worry, the children will be arrested, and they'll be thrown in prison, not the 7 other men that are there obviously doing the horrendous act. This is the state of the UK, right? Why would I ever want to go there? Why? It's a hellhole. You guys need to fix your country. 7 guilty of sexually abusing 2 girls and care. And now I want to show you guys here real quick of what I'm talking about with these people. They have in Iran or Islam or what have you. They sell their 13-year-old daughters, their 11-year-old daughters to other men that are way older than them as wives. So let's get into this. So we have this here from Lisa Rosen saying Mana Hadari was sold by her own Muslim father into forced marriage with grown Muslim man. Her Iranian husband tortured her daily and raped her whenever he wanted to. After she fell into severe depression and could not serve and please him, he called his brother and decided to punish her. They denied her hands and feet so she couldn't move or resist. They started beating her just to make her cry and scream in pain. According to Islamic laws, husband is allowed to beat his wife in order to discipline her and teach her a lesson. After severe physical torture, as she begged for mercy, her husband decided to behead her as an Islamic act of honor killing. In a desperate attempt to restore his dignity and family honor after beheading his disobedient child bride, he paraded her severed head and paraded through the streets of Azvaz, a city in the southwestern province of Pakistani, Iran. Every year, thousands of women and girls are murdered in the name of family honor in the Arab Muslim world. This brutal violation of women's rights must be stopped. Yeah. By the way, feminists, if you want to go and do something, go have an actual purpose. Go help these people. Why don't you go help these people? Because obviously these women are horribly oppressed. Let's just go over here. We have this. Afghanistan, a 12-year-old was married off to a 60-year-old man for a price of $3,500 in 2019. Sharia laws cater to men, not little girls. Yeah, so that's what's going on here. Let's go and look at another one. Oh, how about this? We have young girls sold as wives, old men, this is Islam, perverse ideology.
A bearded man who claims he's 55 years old comes to collect her. He's bought Parwana for 200,000 Afghanis, just over $2,000 US. Covered up.
Why? 9 and 10-year-old girls are being sold as wives to 50-year-old men.
Parwana whimpers as her mother holds her. "This is your bride, please take care of her," says Parwana's father. "Of course I will take care of her," replies the man. The fate of this small, helpless child has been sealed. 9-year-old Litan and 4-year-old Zeton for $1,000 US each. "Do you know why they're selling you?" the journalist asked Zeton. "Because we are a poor family and don't have any food to eat," she says. "Are you scared?" he asks. "Yes, I am." Another family in Gore province borrowed money from their 70-year-old neighbour. Now he's demanding it back, but they have nothing to give, except their 10-year-old daughter, Magu. "I don't want to leave my parents." Days later, she discovers the sale has been finalised.
This is the reality that they are living in. This is the Islam world. This is the Muslim. Now, I'm not saying all Muslims agree with this. I'm not saying all Muslims are like this. But this is the reality that we're in. In Afghanistan right now, 7-month-old babies are being sold into marriage to pay off their parents' debts. Zero commendation from the UN. Zero posts from the UNICEF. Zero protests.
5 years old, 7 years, 9 years, 6 years old. These are girls already sold into marriage, many too young to even know their own ages. 8 years, they're often prompted by their guardians. 6 years, the husbands they'll go to are a decade or more older. The last to talk is 5 years old. The youngest, in her father's arms, is a 7-month-old baby given in lieu of medical bills. The girls have no say. This in one of Afghanistan's poorest villages. And the deprivation here means girls are being sold into marriage earlier and more often. There's not enough room in the tent for all the parents who want to show us their young daughters they've sold.
This is their culture. This is what they do. So when we allow these people to just come into our country, do you expect this to change? This has recently just happened, by the way, where a father was trying to sell her daughter in the U.S. to marriage, and he was beating her to kill her because, she defied him. Their culture is what this is. We allow these people into our country, and then we are surprised on what happens. Again, I am not saying all Muslims are like this, but when you have so many people, so many of these people are doing this, it makes sense on why this stuff is happening, and nobody wants to talk about it, because they'll be labeling us as Islamic phobia. They'll call you a racist. It's like, no, this is what's happening here, and we have to protect our kids, we gotta protect our people, and this is what their culture is. Their parents don't even care or love their own children. They rather sell them for money so they can live. That's what these people are. This is how disgusting these people are. And we just don't want to talk about it. This is the insanity. Alright guys, that's it for the video. Nice guys, share. As always, take care my friends.
I'm disgusted by what I see in public. Even people closest to us can't be trusted. This is algorithmic disease, the social media.